A whole season has amounted to this. We've had our playoffs go all the way through. Some drivers given a second breath of fresh air, while others have been fighting and clawing for seasons for an opportunity like this. It is the championship race for the Stars and Stripes Racing League Season 5, and we got 4 drivers that are going to be finding themselves fighting for a championship. The goal, no longer points. It's only about beating out those other drivers to hoist the trophy. And we got 4 drivers that have never won a championship before. So it's time for a first time for any of these drivers here tonight. And we're proud to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall as well as Robert Moyer Jr. Going to be writing the productions in the background. Zach, a whole season, and we're coming to this destination. Michigan is our final spot.
It all accumulates here to Michigan. It's crazy to say we're actually through the whole season now. We were saying how fast time has flown by here in the season, but tonight it's what it's all about. Like you said, these guys, 4 of these guys, not a champion before, and 4 of the best drivers here at the Stars and Stripes Cup Series. It's a very well-deserving group, and I tell you, I cannot wait to crown these guys because that's just one of the funnest parts of doing all this whole business and broadcasting is getting to see somebody celebrate their championship. So I can't wait to see who can get it done. Michigan's going to give a lot of opportunity here tonight for all 4 of those drivers to be able to do it, and I tell you, it's going to take a very tough mentality. You're going to have to stay on top of everything throughout this whole entire race because this place, you do not get away from your competition.
No, you really don't. It is pack racing, 2 miles of constant action on top of one another with the added factor of tire wear the driver is going to have for themselves. But this could be one of the more important stages of the race. Qualifying currently underway. Drivers were given 5 minutes to put down their fastest times, and they've got 2 laps to do it as our final 4 drivers. Well, let's run them down for you as we get to see that of the 44 on screen. That of Kyle Bowling having his fun out trying to see where he's going to qualify. But if we got to talk about qualifying, we got to talk about this driver, Joshua Robinson. Probably the one driver to watch out for here tonight to try to go for the pole. He's gotten 5 so far this season, the most out of anyone else. And he's going to be trying to go for number 6 to put his stamp as one of the heavy favorites to watch out for. He's also been one of the most consistent drivers to finish up front. He's got 9 top 5s, and 5 of those 9, he has finished in second place with only 1 win that came away at Gateway. Another driver to watch out for, another rookie on top of that with Joshua Robinson. It's Ross Tatum in the 21. He's going to be a driver I'm most excited for. He had a real hot streak in the beginning of the season. He's tapered off, but he's starting to find that speed once again at the right time here at Michigan. He's got himself 2 wins at Bristol and Kentucky. Can he get his 3rd and potentially find himself with a championship? Then we also have the underdog, the biggest underdog of all the drivers. He was given a second chance after the 3-time champion Kyle McCoy had to step away from playoff racing action. It was Jason Gratton given that second chance in the last round of the round of 8. Well, he's taken that chance to the fullest so far. Can he complete that journey? That's going to be his key. He's got 1 win this season. That was at Las Vegas. And so far, he started his career last season. It has just been going up and up for the 91. He's probably going to be the biggest underdog, but what a story it could be for himself. But speaking of stories, a driver that's been here since season 2. He's fought, he's clawed, but now is his best opportunity to finally grab that championship. He won this race last season, but can he win tonight to get the championship? It's Ken Campbell in the 15. He comes into tonight with 2 wins at Pocono and Texas, and he's tied with the same consistency with that of Joshua Robinson with 9 top 5s, but he's down 1. He only has 11 top 10s compared to the 12 that Robinson has. And Zach, those are our 4 drivers to watch out for as qualifying still has 1 minute and 20 seconds left.
Yeah, this is so important here at qualifying, and like you said, Robinson having 5 poles this season. Let's see where he can go on the board. Is right now it's Tatum, Campbell, and Gratton there in your 4th, 5th, and 6th position at the moment. Robinson here on the first lap, not going to be the fastest lap. That's going to be this is going to be kind of the throwaway lap for these guys. So 23rd on that first lap, but it should pick up here as he comes back around to put down that 2nd lap. We'll see where it places him on the board. And right now, with our top 3 of our top 4 all right together, wouldn't be surprised to see him right in the mix.
It really won it as here comes the 30 machine, rocking it his way out of turn number 4, trying to get his 6th pole of the season. And what a way to start out this championship race here tonight. Across the line, Robinson starts 19th after that first lap, and after the next one, only able to bump up just slightly for the 30 machine. Stays that lap invalidated for himself. That is a hard pill to swallow for a driver that was expecting a great plunge there at the end.
That he was, and I went back and checked it out. He did actually get into the wall coming off of turn 2, just a little bit free, it seemed, off that exit of the corner. The rear end stepped out. He had to run it up the racetrack, and when he did, the rear end caught the wall, and that right there will invalidate your lap here on iRacing. And man, it's going to set him back in a very interesting position. Not many times have we seen him start this far back. He's going to have to really work hard to get up there and gain the track position that the rest of that Final Four has.
For a driver that's been our most consistent starter up front, that 30 Machines got himself a long journey here tonight, but it's going to be a long race. These drivers here this evening here at Michigan, going to be 100 laps for themselves, 0 fast repairs, 3 extra sets of tires in pit road. We'll talk about the fuel mileage once we get rolling. As the drivers have got themselves done with qualifying, let's take a look at our qualifying results here tonight. It's the final race of the season for the Stars and Stripes for that of the Racing League Season 5. And taking the final pull of the season, it's the 23 of Dylan Grimm to his outside. Going to be the 05 is Scott Rickard. Cameron Sarton, the driver that has got the most wins this season. He's not racing for a championship no more, but the 94 hoping for a good run to take off for Season 5. Brandon Pierce going to be in 4th position, and this is where the cluster of our championship drivers lie. It's going to be Ross Tatum in 5th. 6th going to be that of Ken Campbell and Jason Gratton. Gonna find him in 7th. Then we've got a couple of other great runners to watch out for. That of Travis Dark, Trey Jackson, and Derek Offerman finishing out our top 10.
In 11th, it's going to be the 46 of Zach Kreitz. Alongside him is going to be 12th is Andrew Hess. 13th is going to be Nate Lynch. 14th position going to the 44 Kyle Bowling. 15th is going to be Thomas Ogle. 16th is going to be Brian Burchett. 17th is going to be George Kovacic. 18th, the 53 of Christopher Wade. And our last of our Final Four contenders back here, 19th, Joshua Robinson. They're having troubles in qualifying. And rounding out the top 20, it's going to be the 4 of Aaron Hill.
And we're also going to have Dylan Grimm in 21st position. Last time placed in during qualifying, going to be the 22 of Randy Cornwell, who's going to get that in 22nd position. And then drivers deciding just to see where fate lies with them. It's going to be John Dart, Philip Chavez, and Doug Pierce, finishing out our last 3 drivers here this evening. As the stage has been set, it's time to see what the drivers are going to bring for us here tonight. Zach, Michigan, a track that we usually like to tradition it close to Auto Club, just the fact of the distance and kind of similar strategies in the way that these drivers have to run. But here tonight, this track, a lot of unknowns, like we've talked about a lot this season. New car, and we get to see how these drivers can attack this new track.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting to see, man. I tell you, like I said earlier in the race, earlier here starting off, that you don't get away from your competition here in Michigan. It's so tough to be able to open up that gap. And you'll see really just small packs form up that. As that tire wear does start to kick in, you'll see guys that struggle maybe fall back out of that draft, slip farther back and get lost into the middle of the pack. And then you'll see like an 8 to 9 car breakaway I'm expecting here tonight. So it's going to be interesting. And then the other thing that I think that plays a little bit of a factor, no stages here, a straight 100-lap race. The fuel mileage is right around 47 laps here for this 2-mile racetrack. If you can stretch it to 50, you can make this race a one-stop. That's going to be difficult to do, but we'll see. Does anybody look to attempt that? Maybe that's what Robinson will have to do with how bad his track position is going to be here to start off this race.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the strategy point that we're going to see a lot of is how do you want to pick and choose coming to pit road? Do you split this race, kind of just full bore split in half, try to extend your pit stops? Or do you try to split into thirds? You're going to go 33 laps, then 66, and then take it to the end. A lot of different strategy points to think about, as well as you don't want to be caught on the back foot of a caution coming out after you've come into pit road. Well, the pace car's ready. Hopefully you're ready because it's time for championship racing here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We're green for the Stars and Stripes Racing League Championship Season 5 finale.
And there you go. Great start there from Dylan Grimm. We'll see him try to take possession of this lead. And Like we said here, folks, it's going to stay stacked up for majority of this beginning of the run. These drivers here are going to be looking for any little advantage they can, but as they come off a 2, Scott Rickard finds the groove there on the outside. This is actually going to make a 3 wide down the back straightaway.
3 wide for the lead. Scott Rickard on the outside. Middle is going to be Dylan Grimm. Then it's going to be Cameron Sart on the inside lane. And that 94, surprised with how much speed he's had with 0 draft help, still able to make the pass for that a second as our pole sitter falls back to 3rd. In an instant, it's Scott Rickard, the Season 2 champ. Now getting to watch to see a new driver hoist the trophy here this evening, but at least he wants one of his trophies to get a win, as that is lap number 1 in the books. And as you look to our ticker, you see the drivers in pink. Those are your championship 4. We go with the pink because the drivers started the playoffs off in October for breast cancer awareness. We're sticking with the pink colors as well as the drivers are on their banners.
That they are, man. You can see already 3 of those drivers all stacked up on top of each other, where they're starting there in those 5th, 6th, and 7th positions, of Ross Tatum leading the way right now in the 21 machine ahead of his teammate Ken Campbell. And that kind of puts it in an interesting scenario. These 2 here do work together. This is a track where working together with your teammate is going to be crucial, especially coming down the pit road and timing out those pit stops for the right timing. So I expect these 2 to work together, try to put themselves in the best position. But as soon as we hit that last pit stop for the final time, I think all of the teammate stuff goes out the window. These guys are going to be racing full bore.
I mean, also, you think back to that race last season, Ken Campbell, he was working with his teammate a ton of that of Christopher Wade, but Wade mired all the way back in 20th position with where Joshua Robinson finds himself as well. It's there we fall back to see where the 30 machine is. A lot of work. He's only still in 19th position. And Zach, I mean, trying to make passes is going to be a difficult task for this 30 machine, but certainly he's got one of the best drivers to have behind him if he's going to start moving forward.
Yeah, Christopher Wade, we know how well he does on the speedways, and this is a speedway style race here for sure at Michigan, so I expect him to be going forward here as this race goes on. But you know, it is so tough to pass here also. I mean, the draft is such a help here that, you know, if you can stay up on that top groove and make most of your passes around the outside of people, because everybody, you know, goes down the back straightaway normally towards that outside wall where the draft will be. When you go to make passes on the inside, though, it is so difficult. It just seems like you're in no man's land. You can get the run on somebody through the corner and even on the exit, but as soon as they pull up behind that car that's on that outer groove, it usually tends to make that car on the outside or inside drop back. But with these guys dropping down low too like this on the racetrack, that'll help that inside line try to make a few passes.
Trying to surge anywhere that you can as we move back up to where our other 3 playoff and championship runner drivers are. Jason Gratton, 91 machine, talked about him getting a second chance in the playoffs. And Zach, he certainly has not squandered that second opportunity he's gotten.
That he really hasn't, man. You know, normally that does not happen. You don't get second chances when it comes to playoffs. Well, Jason Gratton, he got handed it to him, and he took the most advantage of it. I mean, the last 2 weeks, he really built off of that and made himself able to get into this round here by points. So, and really, I'd say he's the dark horse of these 3 of 4. So, I mean, it's really going to come down to how well he can play his strategy. He was quick at Las Vegas earlier this season where he got the win. So, it can still be here where he can carry some of that, style of racing over. It'll be interesting to see, can he figure it out? But right now, he's right there with this competition where he needs to be.
And behind him, going to be hopping on board the 27. Get a picture of what it's like to run here at Michigan. A lot of these drivers running that middle lane, but talking to the drivers, got a lot of helpful tips about how these vehicles are going to be running with one another from Ken Campbell. And Zach, that tightness we were being told really starting to show itself here this evening.
That it will. The longer it gets into this run, the worse it gets to, and especially starts to really show it right around this point, about 7 to 10 laps into this first run. The nose of the car really starts to push, and personally, I can remember back to the last time I ran a race here, the right rear tire, the left rear tires, they really did not wear. You really didn't see much wear at all. It was really all about that right front tire, and it really took a beating. I mean, personally, if someone's going to try that one stop to try to take it 50 laps, they're going to have to conserve that tire, because taking that far, you could actually get in the danger of blowing that right front tire, and that is something that can completely end your night possibly and set you back very, very far. So you're going to have to plan out how you use these tires, and that's why I think you're seeing right now a little bit of separation from our top 3 drivers there, as those top 2 out front, they've really took it off.
Yeah, and those top three, Scott Rickard, Cameron Sarton, Dylan Grin, all saying, let's just go full bore as we look in the middle of the field and kind of gain a sense of what it's like with some of these drivers further on back. This is around 19th place where we see that 30 machine of Joshua Robinson now trying to make the pass for 17th as Christopher Wade and the 30 machine have been kind of tagging along, trying to go forward together. But the driver that went backwards the most, down 6 positions, it's Nate Lynch in this 25. Seems to be he's still trying to settle into this race pace.
Yeah, definitely trying to settle in. And the big thing here is, again, like I brought up earlier tonight, we have no stages here at Stars and Stripes. So right here, Joshua Robinson back here around Nate Lynch and stuff around in this 18th position. They're about 6 seconds back from our leader, Scott Rickard. If this race does go green, and I tell you, we've seen plenty of times here at the Stars and Stripes Cup Series where we have went green completely for almost the full entire race. So if you get set back like this early in the race, it's tough to come back from. Robinson's going to have a lot of work to do here as this race goes on.
Well said. Talking about going backwards, here's Aaron Hale, a driver that we've talked about a ton. When we started covering the Stars and Stripes League back in season 3, Aaron Hale is one of those traditional drivers that always seem to not have the best qualifying runs, but always find himself up front in the top 10 at the end of the day. Tonight could be a different story if we stay green. He's back in 22nd position with John Dart, Philip Chavez. These drivers extremely off the pace, but Zach, if you're going to try to save 3 laps of fuel, this is the best way to start it out.
That it definitely is. I mean, you see these guys up here as we jump up to them. These guys are not saving fuel. They're going out there racing hard, trying to make up time on the leaders up ahead and keep themselves up ahead of their competition as Tatum and Campbell have been battling this whole time. But, Aaron Hill, I like this. I mean, they got nothing to lose. Why not go out there and try to make the one stop happen? Go out here, get a win to end your season. It might not be for a championship, but sometimes a win at the end of the season can set you up for that next season and really get you that momentum and that ball rolling for yourself.
But speaking of next season, I think they're still trying to talk and figure out what the next car is going to be, as there has been every single season they've ran has been in a different car. Season 1, they started out in the ARCA cars. Then season 2, they moved up to the trucks. Then the Xfinity for season 3. The Gen 6 Cup car was season 4. And here in season 5, running the next Gen 7 Cup machine. And currently, we've seen the biggest diversity of different drivers winning than we've seen in any other season before. And I gotta say, it's been a blast to watch the amount of drivers that have won each and every week and the unknown of who is going to get to the victory lane. And here we go, the battling for the lead. Scott Rickard, Cameron Sarton, it's starting to get heating up.
Yeah, Scott Rickard really jumped out to that big lead there. And now look at this, 12 laps into this race. Cameron Sarton's all over the back bumper, but also Dylan Grimm. Don't look too far. There's Ross Tatum and Ken Campbell right there in tow with this group too. So it's showing those guys that dropped back almost 2 to 3 seconds already closed right back in. We'll see Ken Scott Rickard hold on to the lead. I know the clean air here is so valuable, but at the same time, if you go out there and run as hard as you possibly can, those tires will fall off very quickly and you'll be struggling to keep the nose underneath this car.
And we think about our final 4 drivers. Ross Tatum's probably the first one that comes to mind when I think of saving tires. He's done it multiple times at a lot of these races where he's trying to save a lot on the tires, but sometimes it even comes to a downgrade. Well, he'll over-save throughout a season. This is race number 19 of this season. You certainly get that knowledge of when is the right time to back off and when to push forward, as the 21 lies there in wait in 4th place.
Yeah, he definitely has had that syndrome this season of just, really kind of saving a little bit too much at some time. So I like to see him up here challenging like he is here. I think he's noticed that has been something he's done this whole entire season where he's saved maybe just a little bit too much, and he feels tonight here with the way the draft works, with the way, you can't really get away from your competition. It's best to go up there and get the track position. And I like what he's doing at the moment is Dylan Grimm, our pole setter. He made a nice little pass there. Look at this. The back straightaway push from the 94, and look at how much they gain on Scott Rickard there. It's just the visible, closing in there of how much more speed you could carry with that push. Dylan Grimm, though, looking strong here, trying to make it maybe set up this pass for the lead now.
And with the fact that this car, iRacing's been developing, trying to get it more and more into tone, you were able to bump draft a lot more in these last couple of months. And here we go. Once again, almost 3 wide for the lead as Grimm pushed up to the front. Scott Rickard trying his best on the outside, not able to do so, but it's all Cameron Sarton, that 94, it being very aggressive. And for everyone just sitting behind, great show to watch. And it's going to be Ross Tatum just waiting and lingering on where to place this 21. They might be trying to figure out how to help the 94 get by that 05.
Yeah, and that was best case scenario for the 23 of Dylan Graham with that push from the 94. Sometimes drivers will elect to push that from the outside line, take advantage of the driver going low. I think Sarton noticed that the 23 was a little bit quicker than the 05, so he looked to help him there make that move. But already, Scott Rickard up there trying to make something happen again. As you can see, farther back here in this group behind Jason Grattan, it's hard to see exactly all the moves being made up ahead of him.
As we hop on board with that, Brandon Pierce in the 38 machine, a part of our wide class of rookies that joined this season. I believe we had over 11 rookies join this season just to get a taste of what it's like in the Stars and Stripes series. And having 2 rookies make it to the Final Four just proved how strong this class was as the drivers continued to race on. The big thing of note to watch out for as a little bit of blinking from the 21. That's been an issue throughout this season. But as well, coming to Michigan, a track where, yes, we can stay green for a large portion of the time. For the same portion, this track does seem to breed a lot of cautions if drivers just do not give each other enough respect or space with one another.
Yeah, most definitely. This track, especially if you start to get one caution, you start grouping everybody back up on fresh tires, that seems to really bring out really the most chaos here at this track. And you know, if they can keep it green here for, I'd say, 30, 40 laps, I would say it's more likely to stay green just because it'll get more and more spaced out. But with, you know, the way the racing is here, it's always just slight moves and, you know, a lot of side drafting, a lot of aggressive moves where you take those chances here with that draft, you know, really being a huge factor. So it really does set up for the possibility of major incidents because you just, again, don't have the separation that you normally have at most of the other tracks with this car.
And speaking of incidents deeper in the field, there was some slight contact between Zach Kreitz going into Andrew Hess that rippled its way into getting Travis Dart as well as Derek Offerman into the outside wall. And Derek Offerman is in pit road currently getting some damage repair as the 54 is out on track just running his own race. And that little bit of complications in the middle of the field actually helping that of Joshua Robinson in the 30 because he was actually starting to lose touch to this pack until they had that issue that dropped them further back and actually has allowed this 30 to get a tow.
Yeah, no, this really helped him. I actually seen that incident. He had to dodge it a little bit there, but luckily didn't have to really lift or anything. So he actually gained on a lot of these guys right up ahead of him as he's trying to set up Travis Dart here on the inside now and make that pass. And good move there as he gets the run coming out of 2. And yeah, he's done a great job here because now at one point he was 6 seconds back. He's only 4 seconds back from our lead. So he has been gaining. And if he can continuously work his way past a few of these guys and just kind of leapfrog his way forward here, he could be able to get back onto that pack up there that is, you know, being really towed around up there with the top 7.
And speaking of up front and a lot of just surging going back and forth, it's the 21, Ross Tatum, starting to make some moves for himself side by side. Action going on for that second place position now.
Yeah, Ross Tatum, he definitely showing a lot more aggression tonight, looking for the urgency to get out front, and I like that from the 21. He has not shown a lot of urgency this season. He's been very calm, very collected a lot of times, but I think when you get into these championship races, you got to be a different driver sometimes. You got to go out there and take it. You can't really, you know, just give everything to every driver out there. If you do, they're going to take advantage of you. And right now, we're seeing this 21. He is definitely on the move as he's trying to continue his march forward as he has now cleared Scott Rickard for second. And I think he'll be trying here in a moments here as he gets closer and closer to 23 to set him up for that lead.
Well, that of Cameron Sarn certainly has already proven that he can give the bump to allow you to take the lead. We'll see if we can get close enough to that 21. Looks like they're starting to fade on the exit of turn 2. But looking at these drivers, I mean, that different driving style, Zach, we think of these top 4. I mean, Joshua Robinson's probably the most aggressive driver of the 4 that we have up here that I think about. I mean, Ken Campbell has shown a little bit of veracity here or there. Jason Grattan has just been caught up in bad luck. Ross Tatum's been the more patient approach driver. It's the 30 who has to be aggressive now, who's now almost cracking the top 10.
Yeah, he has been pretty aggressive back here, making some good, clean moves also, and gaining time at that. I mean, he's running sometimes a half a second quicker than this group up here who's battling, which will slow you down when you're racing like this side-by-side, changing lanes, you know, running the inside lane all the way down the back straightaway because you're side-by-side. It will really slow you down, and also just getting side-by-side in general because look at that King Camo with the side draft on the 05. That really stalls out your momentum huge here at Michigan. And if you can try to do that, you'll be able to set people up. As Campbell now trying to follow his teammate Ross Tatum through, as now he'll get himself up to third. But with the way Robinson's gaining, I think he will be up to these guys at some point. It's just going to be the case, will the tires still be there when he gets to them?
Well, pass for the lead is now underway. A great little push by the 15, allowing Ross Tatum to duck down low. And Dylan Graham, pole sitter, now gets to watch the 21 of Ross Tatum, who has just been slowly irking and waiting his way to get to that lead position. Well, it's time to see how the 21 can lead with the pack behind.
And there's a little bit of a block there going into 3 and 4 just to cover off that inside, not allow that 23 to get there. And now does a great job to 3 and 4, slides way up the racetrack, carrying a lot of speed there through the corner. And Michigan kind of gives you that opportunity. And now he'll drop low here to give his teammates some draft and maybe get him and Ken Campbell out front together, because I tell you, when you have 2 cars working together out front, it makes passing those 2 cars so difficult. It always seems like they need to gang up on the car out front to really make passes, and when you have somebody that is dedicated to stay with their teammate, it really makes things tough.
Yeah, it makes things tough, but at the same time, with the fact that the teammates are battling for a championship, I mean, how much teammate advantage are you willing to really give? Are you willing to even help your teammate, or would you feel a little bit more obligated to help someone else that could try to split you up from where you're at, as riding on that with that of the 05 Scott Ricker on the outside, just getting that sense being squeezed up to that outside wall, and the tightness starting to show a little bit more as we're 25 laps into this race, a quarter of the way through this Michigan championship run here for the Stars and Stripes Racing League. And for these drivers, Zach, we're getting closer and closer to also the thought of the drivers that might want to think about pitting early as the 05 gets to that outside wall.
Ooh, that was so close there as he just grazed into the wall. Now as Gratton's going to be looking to get the pass done on him here in the 91. As Scott Rickard, he really drove out to that lead position, and now is paying the price for it here with a little bit of that, just tire wear really starting to kick in, it seems like, and getting tight off these corners, especially the farther back he gets and the worse the dirty air gets. And it's going to be a tough case here for him to hold on. He's just got to do his best here to get to the pit stops, because like you said, Sam, those pit stops are looming. I mean, drivers are going to get pretty aggressive, I think, a few of them with this pit stop here. I'm just interested to see who can, if anybody, can stretch it to 50. But if not, you're going to have to be looking at, round 33. That window starts to open up for splitting this race into a 2-stop race. So we'll see. It's getting closer to it, but we may see a few guys look to stretch it maybe a little bit farther to have that little bit of tire advantage.
And if we're looking at the times, though, the drivers have been putting down from recent, as we fall back to see that Joshua Robinson, he's cracked instead of the top 10, running 9th currently with that of Thomas Ogle, Zach Kreitz. These drivers finding themselves 2.5 seconds off of our leaders, about that of a 1.3 seconds off from that of 8th place of Trey Jackson, who they're trying to get to the tail end of, so they get a little bit of that toe to help themselves get closer to that lead pack. But with the fact that these lap times that the drivers are putting down, well, majority of them are already 2 seconds slower than their fastest lap that they put down all race, just showing the wear and tear they're already starting to feel. And if we think back to that of Aaron Hale and other drivers that are trying to save fuel, they're going to be in a spot where they've got to be thinking about their lap times that they're giving up once we see these drivers make their first stop.
No, you're exactly right. This place has a ton of fall off. Just the tire wear really eats the right front tire off. And it's so tough when that tire is falling off like that to keep the turn underneath your car, especially when you stay close together, compacted like this with the dirty air. It's just a syndrome that continuously builds and builds on you, and it's very tough to hold on to. So, yeah, those drivers that are farther back trying to maybe stretch it to that 50 point, you can't go too slow. That's the problem. You don't want to fall off too far. You don't want to burn your tires up too much. And even, like I said earlier, it is very dangerous, and it has the possibility of even blowing a right front tire trying to take it 50 laps here. That is a long way here at Michigan, and it really does a lot of damage to those tires as the fall off continues to click in.
Well, if you are just joining us right now, this is the championship race for the Stars and Stripes Racing League, as this is season number 5. Final 4 drivers, you see them in pink. They're all in the top 10. The driver that has been our biggest mover so far here this evening is the 30 of Joshua Robinson. Did not qualify where he wanted back in 19th place. He's up to that of 9th, up 10 positions. Leader right now going to be that of Ross Tatum, as he has been able to slowly claw his way forward. We have not had a yellow yet, but we have had an incident that has put Derek Offerman into the pit road. to be serving some extreme damage repairs. And the 33 of Brian Burchett was going to be finding himself with doing a start and park at the beginning of this race. As everyone else staying out on track, 30 laps in, we're still finding ourselves green.
Yeah, that we are still green here and clean up front, but you got the two teammates of the Final Four leading the way. And, we brought it up about the teammate aspect. And, yeah, the big thing, you would probably like to get away from your teammates since you're racing them for the championship. But at the same time, those two have worked so well together all season long, along with Christopher Wade when they've been together, those three, that I think you can't switch up yet on that teamwork. You got to work to maybe guarantee both of you a chance at that championship. And with the way they've worked, they've got themselves to 1-2. They've done a great job through this first run. But again, like I said, that last pit stop happens. That is where you'll start to see the race in between these two. And even I think Ken Campbell, if he can get to the lead here, he wants to do it as soon as possible.
Speaking about teammates, you've got Dylan Graham as well as going to be that of Jason Grattan. Those drivers are going to be trying to figure out how to work with one another. Now, Dylan Graham, not a playoff contender, but with Jason Grattan being the underdog, having at least one teammate he can trust being up here, that's got to be at least some type of helpful, deep breath air that he can take in, knowing when we come into this pit stop, he at least has one other person he can work with.
Yeah, I think that's even more helpful because, you don't have to beat him. As long as you two can get hooked up, do the right strategy, you can finish second to him. It doesn't matter because you'll still be the champion as long as he was the one that finished ahead of you and not the other three. So, for him, I feel like he even feels more comfortable with his teammate up there. So that is great to see that him and Grimm have been able to keep themselves here together. But right now we're starting to see it. Look at this, a little bit of separation. That top four, they've starting to break away here as Sarton's trying to hold back this 38 of Pierce. But, we saw Sarton and along with Scott Rickard, both of those drivers really take off out there, get a little bit of a sizable gap for the first 5 to 6 laps. I think they're starting to pay the price right here, right now.
With the more that they start to fall back, the more this actually is going to be helping Joshua Robinson able to get a little bit more of a tow to try to attach to each driver in front, as that of Brandon Pierce able to get by the 94 of Cameron Sarton and Pierce, as well as Trey Jackson are the two drivers. In my mind, I'm curious with how long this run has been, and more we go, 5, 6 more laps, how much more are those front four going to be willing to give up on those tires to try to break away compared to that of Pierce and also Jackson that seem to be kind of still in safe mode with the way they're running.
Yeah, it's a tough call to make, especially if you're a driver looking to maybe stretch this first, run out here a little bit farther. And, from what I'm seeing, we're already seeing pit stops happening here on lap 33. It's going to be aggressive from the two up front. Not Ken Campbell, though. It's going to be Ross Tatum along with Jason Grattan coming down here to pit road. That is definitely aggressive, right on the money with a 2-stop race.
And we talked about it. The drivers are going to be full thinking. Either I'm going for the 1-stop or I'm going for the 2-stop. The aggressive pit stop by here by the 21 of Ross Tatum more so makes it look like he's going to go on lap 33 coming to 34 and then 66 to 67. Most likely is going to be his final stop looking for. But Jason Grattan coming in with no teammate help. Both of these championship hopefuls now have to assist one another if they want to be up front still in that lead pack once this all cycles through.
Yeah, these are some interesting calls being made. I thought maybe the teammates out front would look to work together, but with Grattan and along with Tatum coming down, they're going to have to be the two that really work together. Also, got to be careful here on exit of pit road. Can't cross that yellow line there. Don't want to have any type of exiting penalty, but Dylan Grimm comes down the next lap, and that'll be interesting to see where does he exactly come out compared to Ross Tatum and along with his teammate there of Jason Grattan. I think this is really setting up good for those two to work together here if he can come out right behind them with a little bit fresher tires.
Zach, drivers have given us notes also on the fact that trying to get into your box can be difficult. On top of that, just trying to get to pit road speed, these drivers have to slow down quite a bit. Pit road speed limit 55 miles per hour compared to the 170 that the drivers are going for as more pit stops underway. Ken Campbell now into pit road for himself.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, this is definitely getting interesting now with Campbell coming down, but Joshua Robinson, he elects to stay out here, so this is going to be an interesting call from this 30 machine. We'll see how it works. I mean, I like kind of that idea of having a little bit fresher tires, as he almost had the same thing happen to him that happened in qualifying, almost gets up into the wall, luckily hangs on to it there, but he's got Ogle with him here, who's most likely going to be looking to work together here with his teammate.
How much longer are you willing to stay out? I mean, tires are important, but at the same time, you're giving up 2 seconds per lap that you decide to stay out in pit road. Now coming in is Dylan Glass as Thomas Ogle getting aggressive on the way there, coming into pit road. Do not want to get caught speeding, and luckily they look to be fine.
Yeah, did a great job there getting it all slowed down. No black flags for any driver there entering pit road. So we'll see. Like you said, getting into those boxes are tough. And ooh, Dylan Glass there, major mistake into that inside wall. And he's going to have to back up multiple times here to get back to the right of that pit box there because he is too far left. They are not going to be able to jack that car up. So tough break for the 16s. You still see him trying to maneuver there and get himself started in his pit stop. That is going to ruin his race here. And he's going to need some type of yellow to get back in it.
Also, another thing of note, Aaron Hale did come into pit road that time, so the Ford not feeling comfortable that he could be taking it to the halfway marker. Other drivers of note that were going kind of similar, going to be that of Philip Chavez, who's going to be the driver of my eyes. Now, will the 8 try to change things up as Kyle Bowling now is going to be hitting pit road for the 44 by himself?
Yeah, Bowling going to be hitting that pit road now, and I think the more and more, the longer we go here, the less likely that 50-lap strategy is going to work out, and mostly due to the fact that there was a lot of separation, especially for those guys farther back in the field. They wasn't really able to stay right tucked up and really utilize that draft to save as much fuel as possible. So it's definitely going to change that scenario up now as it's all going to start to cycle through. But we got a few guys still left out here. You just see Nate Lynch. And you're going to get to see, though, right here, the difference in new tires is the 4 Aaron Hill just drives right by him.
And going to be seeing the 25 trying to get in line, grab as much draft as possible on the straightaways, try to assist himself into the corner. And as right now, going to be 6 drivers still needing to hit pit road. That of Nate Lynch, as well as Christopher Wade, John Dart, that of George Kovacic, Philip Chavez, and Travis Dart, all still needing to come into pit road for themselves. For everyone else that has already come into pit road, they still have one more stop to go as we are going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be seeing how do our final 4 set up to go for their final pit stop, as all of them are on the same kind of strategy in some sort, just a little bit of laps changing here or there. But you are watching the Stars and Stripes Racing League Championship Series Season 5 finale here tonight on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We'll go side by side. You won't miss a thing. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name's Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. Rob Moyer running productions in the background. You are watching the Stars and Stripes Racing League Championship race for the Season 5 finale, as right now, out on track, we got 3 drivers that are trying their best to push the fuel and the tires to halfway. It's Nate Lynch, dad of George Kovacic, as well as Philip Chavez, doing their best to stay out on track, and they've done quite a good job at this moment, but it's about to fall apart here very quickly as Ross Tatum is just that, about 3.5 seconds away from our leader, and kind of trying to turn this situation on its head. But Zach, I mean, the timings that we were talking about under commercial break didn't look like it was going to work out for this 25 to make it halfway, but he is almost there.
Yeah, he's definitely looking like he's going to do it here too. So that's a great job by these guys to stretch the fuel this much. We were talking about it too. It may not be a winning strategy right here because Ross Tatum's already called up to him, but it could very well work out. And, if we get a caution at a certain point where the cycle's through, they could be in the lead. So I like what these guys are doing here. Nothing to lose for Nate Lynch, George Kovacic, and John Dart as they attempt to do this strategy. So you can see there, Ross Tatum now closing in up on him. And there, look at that too. Ken Campbell in the background. He's trying to attack the 91 of Jason Gratton to get by him. But the only problem he has, Dylan Grimm, the teammate of Jason Gratton, they're going to be looking to push that 91. But I think the 15 has done a good job and was able to keep station as he clears now that 91. And he'll be going up there trying to track his teammate down.
Trying to help out the best that they can. These 3 drivers we see on screen, 3 very different type of strategies on when they wanted to come into pit road. For that of Ken Campbell, it was all about trying to figure out how to come into pit road soon. And then for Jason Gratton, found himself being one of the leaders. And then right in the dab middle was the 23 of Dylan Grimm. And Grimm right now looks to be on a solo run, not going with complete, I'm just going to assist my teammate all the way through. But it looks like he's going to sit right in front of that 91, try to give that little bit of a toe, try to bump draft their way forward.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was expecting, with Jason Gratton, he pitted with Ross Tatum. I figured he might try to stick with Ross there, but he slipped back into the clutches of Grimm and Ken Campbell. I'm wondering maybe if he just really took off a little bit too hard, got that right front a little too hot now, and is struggling because he's gotten passed by both of them and is dropping back here. As we look back to Brandon Pierce, he's the next guy back here as he's got Cameron Sarton, Trey Jackson, and Scott Rickard right here behind him. And then you'd have to go back about another second. They got Joshua Robinson, who's starting to close in on this group just a little bit here, only a couple hundredths faster, but he's still about 5 seconds off Ross Tatum here. He's going to need a big gain here through the rest of this race.
The big thing as well, Zach, is the gap. The drivers started this race off, and they were all clustered up because of the start of the race. The way they start these races being side by side, with the pit cycle going through, everyone has a pretty decent gap between one another, making this one a lot harder on the saving of tires-wise on this run.
Yeah, it makes it a lot tougher. You cannot just use someone's draft there and save in the corners. That's a lot of times what you'll see when you're in these pack races is guys will really slow it up in the corners that are saving and then just utilize the draft to help get them back up the speed, so it really doesn't hurt you as bad. But when you're all by yourself like this with Joshua Robinson here as he's starting to close in on these guys and get that draft, you got to really push to get to that draft. And if you can't get up to him, sometimes you can kind of be in no man's land and really lose out. But he's done a good job. He's closed it down here now as he's closing up to the back bumper of Scott Rickard along with Trey Jackson. And he's also been gaining a little bit of time on Ross Tatum each and every lap. So needs to continuously do that, but not over push it too, because how aggressive these guys are being on these pit stops, he's going to have to push pretty hard too, because, lap 66 is not far away.
No, it is not, and that's when drivers are aiming to make their next stop. 66 going to 67 is that window drivers are looking for. But want to give note of some drivers that had to come into pit road. Derek Offerman with an earlier incident, he had to come into pit road. He is currently calling it a night. First official DNF for anyone this evening. Also for that, Travis Dart got caught speeding coming into pit road. He's got extended damage that he's been working on for the 27. It's been a rough night for himself. Looks to be calling it a night potentially there as coming into pit road for an extended time. Also the 6-6 of John Dart. Those are all your back markers. But up front, Trey Jackson, Scott Rickard, they are keeping it close as Joshua Robinson is now there and trying to make his poise to go forward.
Yeah, he's really starting to push it now here. He knows he's got to go forward very quickly. Again, that pit stops are looming very, very soon. We had Joshua Robinson there stretch it farther than Ross Tatum, Ken Campbell, and Jason Gratton that last time. and he did lose a little bit of time by doing that. But right now is the part of the phase where those little bit fresher tires are going to really benefit him. So we'll see, can he really make the moves here very easily and get up to that next group? Because that's going to be the key. If he can get up to the next group of Grattan and Grimm and Campbell, that is where the real race begins for that top 4, guys.
Again, the drivers that are in pink are your championship 4. Whoever finishes ahead of those other pink drivers is the one that wins the championship. You don't even need to win the race to get that championship gold. But right now, it's Ross Statham leading the way with Ken Campbell and Jason Grattan riding in 4th, just watching his teammate. And this is the best place for him to be, especially on that fact that he's on those older tires. Ross Statham and Grattan both were the first to start out this green flag pit stop cycle. And right now, Ross Statham's done the better job of keeping the distance, but he is slowly being caught, while Jason Grattan is now working with the draft to try to save those tires.
Yeah, he definitely is. Grattan has done a good job here to hang on to his teammate of Grimm and Campbell here as they look to try to pull themselves farther and farther up to Ross Tatum. They've only been a couple hundredths of a second quicker than Ross, so it's going to be difficult to keep gaining on them here, especially as they, will start to get a little bit of that draft. That'll help them a little bit, but it also is going to hurt them a little bit too, because through these corners, you do not want any type of aerodynamics going on that nose. You want as much aero flowing underneath the body of this car and really helping it stick to the racetrack to make time. So we'll see, can Campbell continue to gain those little margins? And when he does get that draft, will he start to gain more, or will it start to actually affect him worse?
As we fall back to Aaron Hale, who's all on his lonesome back in 14th, kind of having his own little charge, was not able to have that run that he wanted to try to stretch the fuel out to halfway. But the driver that did was Nate Lynch. Christopher Wade was a driver that was just 3 laps shy, had to pit early because he was too aggressive on the initial push. 53, he is now in a place where he's stuck in the middle of 2 different pit stop strategies, which has cost them too much time to where he's just going to try to salvage anything he can get.
Yeah, he's going to have to hope they kept some type of caution through these cycles here for this 53 machine if he wants to go up there and battle with his teammates at King Campbell and Ross Tatum. But, again, no championship on the line for him tonight. He can risk a few different things. So we could see him play a little bit of a different strategy here this next time. But as you see there, Robinson has gotten by Sarton, by Jackson. Now he just needs to set his sights here to pass Brandon Pierce, and he'll have some clear racetrack to try to run down that group up ahead of him. He's done a good job, only losing a little bit of time there through those few laps, but when he's able to stay non-side-by-side with anybody here, he's one of the fastest cars on the racetrack.
Trey Jackson, curious on how well he's going to be running throughout this run for that 31 machine. Again, Trey Jackson, as well as seeing some other drivers up here try kind of fighting with the others of the winners, you could say, of this season. Dylan Grimm also trying to search for a victory for the 23, but Trey Jackson always seems to be right on the cusp. He's always a driver that's just outside the top 5 or just outside the top 10, but has those shining moments in the middle of races like we're seeing right now where he is around those top drivers. It's just finding that consistency at the end that he's still searching for, and could be great momentum to try to carry into that season 6.
That it really could be, man. This is a great run. I mean, this is when the prime time, when everybody tries to bring their best stuff to the racetrack and be the best possible driver they can be. And with him running up here in this top 10 and right on the fringe of the top 5, that is a good showing for him here at the end of the season when everybody is, again, pushing at their hardest. So he's doing great here tonight. We'll see if that can carry over for him. But as you see right there up ahead of him, Robinson, it looks like he'll get it done. There he does, clear that 38 and now moves himself up into the top 5. So all 4 of our final 4 contenders here in the top 5 now. Just Dylan Grimm here, the lone man in 3rd.
Dylan Grimm still trying to help his teammate of Jason Grattan, running in that 3rd place position. For Jason Grattan, that also for Joshua Robinson, gonna have to figure out how to beat out the teammates from Ross Tatum, Ken Campbell. Those drivers still looking so strong. And the fact that Ross Tatum still leading the way as we're 5 laps away from seeing these drivers think about trickling into pit road once again for that final stop, the money stop right around the corner. You got to think that you got to close in this gap if you're that of Joshua Robinson, but it's so massive. Him starting with that poor qualifying run might have been just too big of a hole to get out of.
Yeah, I do. I completely agree. I mean, that hole he's climbing out of has been huge. I mean, he would have definitely been right up here battling for it. He's had the pace, no doubt, in my opinion, to be battling with these guys up here in this top 4 here for those positions. But just that hole of climbing out of there, of that, sizable gap is just going to be so difficult, especially now. He's got almost, a whole second and a half up the road to the next car, Jason and Grattan. So he's going to have to really lay down some good lap times here. And with the pit stops looming already, it's kind of in limbo of where he was right before the last pit stops happened. So it's going to be tough for him to gain, but it's going to be still enough time. It's just going to be what type of strategy. Does he get a little bit more aggressive and hit on lap 66, knowing that he can't give up too much time to these drivers up ahead of him? Because you can see it. Ken Campbell visibly, he is gaining up on his teammate. And he's going with a very aggressive strategy here to come down early.
Going to be coming in on lap 63, coming to 64. Ken Campbell, he was gaining on his teammate, and instead of trying to close in the gap even more, decides I'm going to pit early. And this seems just a little bit too drastic. Yes, you can easily make it from here, but the tire advantage that you're giving up is drastic. Ken Campbell, this is a make or break Hail Mary throw for himself, pitting this soon.
Yeah, a little bit of a head scratcher for me with him gaining that time there on his teammate like he was. He was poised to possibly drive up and even pass his teammate. So that strategy he was doing of having the 1 lap fresher tires was actually playing out pretty well. He was gaining on him. But I think what he did see is, I looked at the lap times. The lap times have, once they've gotten to about that 41.6 range, you kind of run in that area of a 41.6 to a 41.7. So maybe he feels if he can just get the track position, not have to go make the pass here, and have some clean track to run some clean, consistent laps, maybe he feels like he can save enough tire to hold these guys back. But yeah, that is setting up a interesting scenario here as Ross Tatum, he's going to continue on possibly for even another lap.
I mean, he can go for at least 1 or 2 more laps before he really thinks about coming into pit road. No, the chat's happy to hear it. Data Dylan Glass could be talked about it. He's into pit road, 16th place for the 16 machine. And he'll have Randy Cornwell also into pit road. Jason Grad now going to be coming into pit road before Ross Tatum as well. Is going to be seeing that Joshua Robinson's still out on track. I mean, Robinson was the one that we were talking about that potentially had to do the undercut, but he's still out on track. That's going to be giving him way more time to everyone else.
Yeah, this is a head scratcher, man. This is definitely where the strategy comes into it. These drivers feel like they've probably got it figured out themselves, but at the same time, this 30, like you said, he really needs to be aggressive here with the strategy. I don't think he can wait longer than this lap here, and I think with him being that low right there in the corner, he might look to come to pit road, but he's not. He's going to look to stay out on the racetrack one more time as you see it. Ross Tatum, just like the plan, lap 66 coming to 67, he is going to hit pit road.
Gray Jackson also going to be coming into pit road much further back. I'm going to be giving that a draft assistance as Dylan Grimm continues to stay out on track. And it's going to be Joshua Robinson continues to be the last driver to think about hitting pit road. But, I mean, this call for Robinson has to be a thought of maybe stay out there until a yellow flag comes out.
Oh, and big scenario here. Major mistake. Ross Tatum slides through his box, has to back up, and gives away crucial seconds there. This is playing into Ken Campbell's hands.
Campbell already going to be passed by that of Ross Tatum. Tatum now just finally leaving his box. And with that big old slide, giving up so much time for himself. And Zach, I'm curious to go back and see if you can check and see what was Ross Tatum thinking on tires, because I think he only went with the 2-tire stop.
If he went with 2, that is very difficult to check that out there. And I think he did. I think he called an audible and just changed it to 2 tires there with him sliding through the box. The interesting thing there is, maybe the 2 tires will work. The only problem is with him doing that, he had to wait for the fuel. These cars with 1 lug, you can change those tires so quickly that, you got to wait for the fuel can there to have enough fuel coming out. And, man, he really made an interesting decision there to do this type of strategy. I mean, maybe looking to make that car a little bit more on the free side there with taking only right side tires, having a little bit more worn left sides. But I will say from experience, that will help you for the first 10 to 15 laps. It'll help the balance, actually make that car want to rotate a little bit more. But once those tires catch up to the left sides on the right, it really starts to make it even worse, as that left front tire is very valuable when it comes to the turn of this front car.
Four tires and fuel goes to the 30 machine. Black flag given to that of Brandon Pierce, speeding on the entry of pit road for the 38. So his opportunity for getting a last win at the end of the season, not going to happen for himself. Cameron Sarton continues to stay out on track as he hits pit road. Scott Rickard is going to be trapped on the outside lane. He cannot come in. And it's going to be Kyle Bowling also following suit, and Andrew Hess into pit road with the 94.
And these scenarios are starting to play out very interestingly now as Robinson is coming off of pit road, and he's going to come out right around Trey Jackson and Dylan Grimm. So we'll see where the 30 machine lines up, but he's definitely well behind the other guys who pit a little bit early. And Ken Campbell, like I say, he is well out ahead as he's already heading into turn number 1. So, man, Campbell here, he just needs to be clean, consistent, and he's just looking for this race to stay green, because if he can keep the right pace like he did last run, he should be in position to pull this off.
And also helping that of Campbell, he is already past. There's a little bit of action. Jason Grattan, Ross Tatum making some touches in the entry of turn 1, able to survive through that of turn 2, as there is a lot of aggressive side drafting going on between these two drivers. And Zach, again, continuous just what is going on. These drivers have to work with one another if they're going to catch up to that 15. He's just so far ahead. This little bickering is hurting both drivers' opportunities for a championship.
It really is. This side-by-side we've seen in this next-gen car, when you get side-by-side, you both stall out. You do not run faster. So with them being side-by-side for a whole lap like this, Ken Campbell himself was able to run just a couple hundredths even quicker, and these guys have fresher tires than Ken Campbell. So that just shows you right there how much time they could possibly be giving up instead of gaining on Ken Campbell. This is very weird and odd to see between these guys, but they know they want to keep the track position on one another when they get to Ken Campbell to have that spot. But this battling is definitely hurting them because they're almost 9 seconds behind Ken Campbell.
Again, Ken Campbell, the very aggressive undercut, pitting 8 laps ago, trying to get any slight advantage. Scott Rickard now hitting pit road, still waiting on Aaron Hale to make his final pit stop, and also that of Christopher Wade, as Nate Lynch is hoping to stretch this fuel out to the very end for that 25 machine, as he is currently in 4th place. Got passed by Ken Campbell already, but these two drivers, Jason Grattan, Ross Tatum, they continue to race as aggressive as they can. But if they continue to race this aggressive, Joshua Robinson, who's only just that of 3 seconds back, could start to close in on this battle.
Yeah, that they can't look too far behind. Robinson is right there. He has the fresher tires of these 3 here, so he'll be looking to gain on these 2 here, and possibly, I think they're going to most likely need some type of help. They're going to need Ken Campbell to really go out there and use his tires up, because if we get to that phase again where the tires start to even out just that little bit, Campbell should have a sizable enough gap to where he could manage it. So we'll see how it all works out here. This is definitely nerve-wracking times, as that last pit stop has been the money stop for a lot of these guys, and maybe the stop that could come back to bite them.
And now Ross Tatum, that last lap, able to run down a 39.863. That was very close to one of his fastest laps of the whole entire night, and he's finally been able to gap and run faster than that of Jason Grattan. Again, Grattan is on the 1 lap older tires. It's going to be difficult to try to attach to the 21. And now Christopher Wade, who is in 3rd place, is in a tough spot, as he's going to be playing nice to seeing his teammate close in, and he gets to watch his teammates battle this one out. It is a 5.8 second difference between 2nd and 3rd place. The championship. Could the 3-lap advantage for Ross Tatum be enough to close in on this gap? That last lap was a little bit under a second faster, was Ross Tatum.
Yeah, he's pushing right now. He is trying everything in his power to gain time on his teammate Ken Campbell, who we'll see. Does he go out there and manage it enough, or does he have to, push it here? That's going to be the question I think he needs to ask himself. Is Tatum, they're having a little bit of connection issues as we have to drop back to the 91 at Grattan, but you can see Tatum is just driving away from this 91. He has no remorse for the tires. He knows with that slide through the box, he's going to have to really push to try to go up there and catch his teammates. So this is it's going to be a little bit of a nail-biter, because I really think that Tatum is going to close this down a good portion. It's just going to be the case, did Ken Campbell save enough to when Tatum gets close enough to possibly get some draft?
Aaron Hale comes into pit road. 25 laps to go here at Michigan. Just a quarter of the way through, and you can see there the difference between the teammates. The advantage goes to Ross Tatum as Ken Campbell just trying to survive the best that he can. And as that gap begins to dwindle down, we are going to step aside for our final commercial break. When we come back, we take you to the end for the championship race here for the Stars and Stripes Racing League for Season 5. We're coming to the conclusion. Our top 4, the championship 4. Where will they lie? We'll find out in just a few as we are taking you to the end after we go to our quick commercial break. Thank you for joining us here on Freaking Fast Broadcasting. We'll see you in just a few moments.
No lower grip whatsoever. Up sideways. Sideways everywhere. Come on, man. Do what you can. The vibration in this car is the worst vibration that I've ever had, and the shifter's broken again.
Following, they're wrecking, they're splitting, and it's a complete mayhem.
We have a wreck at the front. 19 goes down into the 7, takes out the 00.
They're 5 wide behind for fifth. Oh my, 5 wide here, this ain't gonna work, is it? They're already wrecking into turn 1, and now coming through that of turn 2. This is it, the Daytona. Oh no, the wrecking contact. Sets gets into the wall, gonna be scattering on the outside. Drivers on the apron, drivers coming out of nowhere. Edison on the outside, trying to get the win. And it's William Edison stealing it at the line.
Into the wall. The 18 trying to fight. 77 to get into the 18. That leaves 3 of TJ Roberts. 17 to Gavin Rogers. 3 of TJ Roberts is going to steal the win here.
But second fiddle so many times last season. Christopher Wade wins the season 5 Daytona 200. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's less than 20 laps to go here for the championship race at Michigan for the Stars and Stripes Racing League. Thank you for joining us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. So we've been giving you all the coverage this season, and here tonight it has been green all the way through so far, and it's been a wild one. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall, and Zach, can't believe we're still green, but the situations have now been laid out. It's Ken Campbell, Joshua Robinson, our final two to try to duel it out.
That it is, man. This is a bit of interesting scenario. It seems like Ross Tatum and Jason Gratton, they've just really used up their tires and just have not had the pace here to keep up here. So it's looking going sideways for them. Ken Campbell, all he wants to see is first that white flag, and then most importantly that checker flag. And can confirm that last lap by Joshua Robinson, he took down the wall coming off of turn 2, really got into it hard. So kind of similar to what he did there in qualifying, and that really set him back there and lost even all the time that he really gained in the last few laps on Ken Campbell.
Which now has kind of put us in a scenario where Ken Campbell is in just cruise control. He's hoping that he's got the pace to be all right. But as we see that last lap, Joshua Robinson just found some extra speed for himself as that 30 machine continues to rage forward. We look at the lap times, how they've been closing in. You can see that one lap where that time was lost after clobbering the wall, but the tires still better than the 15. That is a 5-lap advantage given to Joshua Robinson over Ken Campbell, which if you're looking for an advantage for yourself, go ahead over to iRacing iFlag for an advantage for any type of racing scenario. If you want to see when flag states are coming out, well, you go purchase their iFlag virtual flag system to give you that clear, concise information, or get their digital pit board. Plenty of great options that you can purchase from to give you advantages out on track. And go use our promo code FreakyFast2022. Get yourself purchases today at iRacingIFlag.com.
Definitely a great sponsor there we have at iRacing iFlag, but also we have one of the best button boxes out there, and that, folks, is the Admin Box. Admin Box is built by iRacers for iRacers, and really it makes being a league admin and really any type of hosted race you do out there on the iRacing service so much easier as controlling that race with just the touch of your fingertips there, as it is one of the best button boxes out there with LED backlight that makes all the buttons super highly visible. So make sure you head on over to adminbox.com, use our discount code there as you see on our screen, FFB/BOXX, and you can get yourself a discount at purchase, as it's one of the best button boxes out there, and you can have race control at your fingertips.
Well, we got 15 to go, and the 15 machine is leading the way. And if you want to be leading the way with some of the best merch out there, hey, go get some of the Rep Freaky Fast Broadcasting merch. The fall season is out. Go get yourself a hoodie with any color or size that is needed, as well as plenty of t-shirts and other great products you can find yourself at the Freaky Fast Broadcasting merch store, as well as Zach. It is great to have. I've got my own t-shirt. It's always great to be wearing, a little bit heavier on the side, so it's great for this winter weather that we're getting.
That it is, man. It's always great to first off rep Freaky Fast here and have that cool merch to have there on your side. But I tell you, it is definitely that time of the year, and if you want a hoodie, that's a place to hit one up, because it'll definitely help keep you warm out there for these colder temperatures coming in. But man, oh man, I'll tell you what, 14 laps to go, Sam. One thing I'm starting to see, Joshua Robinson, he's gained a little bit, but now Ken Campbell, he has a friend behind him, and it's called the 53 of Christopher Wade. This is going to help his chances even more, in my opinion. Christopher Wade on these fresher tires could help his teammate Ken Campbell here try to open that gap up, and that last lap, they did.
They did, and the big advantage right now is 53 is not trying to pass. He's just lingering behind, giving that little bit of draft help on the straightaways, on the 15 to get all the assistance he needs, because this just little draft help on the straightaways is an advantage that the 30 just doesn't have. There is no one even close to Joshua Robinson. So this slight advantage, no surprise to see from Ken Campbell and Christopher Wade. Saw the same exact picture last season when they were in the Gen 6 Cup car when we found Ken Campbell winning this race. I'm kind of not shocked by the fact that we're seeing this. I'm just surprised that it took this long to see Christopher Wade and Ken Campbell finally get attached with one another.
Yeah, they were probably hoping the scenario might have been a little bit different with Christopher Wade on the lead lap, but they'll take it either way. As being able to work with your teammate here in Michigan, it is very, very helpful. Even though we have to lift off the throttle here in these corners, the straightaways being so long in length, any type of drag reduction you can have, or just even push from the car behind, will really help out your chances of going forward. And even, Chris Wade's not even getting to the bumper. It's really a bubble of air that kind of forms right at that bumper behind the car. When that other car compacts the air on the bumper, it really just shoves them forward. So doesn't even really have to push him. He can just get right to him and really help accelerate his speed forward. So doing a great job there in the 53, and it's really helping because the gap continues to open up. And I think Campbell, he also managed very well. He took off out there, and I don't think he really pushed too hard. He was looking to save these tires. He knew that pitting that early, if he went out there and really ran, hot laps like his teammate Ross Tatum and Jason Grattan did, he would be in the same trouble they've been here later in this run.
Also got to think for that of Ken Campbell, a slight advantage, having his teammate in his Discord, radio chat, letting him know potentially of, I just slid through my box. I mean, getting that type of information could be great as well, knowing, all right, I built up this lead, he's made a mistake, I can back off and save my tires in that fashion instead of just trusting and hoping that the drivers behind you have made mistakes.
Yeah, that is a great point. It really helps. If he was notified by Ross that he slid through his box, I'm sure Ken really probably breathed a sigh of relief, saying, man, this is going to be a little bit more easy to manage now, knowing the gap that I'll have. It'll make that disadvantage of tire difference that much less if you can just go out there and really manage it. So he's done a great job of it. The gap continues to really reopen here for him as they'll be coming here to 9 laps to go, and he's going to be 9 long laps here for Ken Campbell as the veteran is going to be looking for his first championship here at Stars and Stripes.
I mean, for Ken Campbell, what a career he's had in the Stars and Stripes Racing League. He has been trying his best to get a championship. He's fallen short. To seeing Scott Rickard get it back in season 2 when this 15 machine was a rookie in this series. Then he's watched Kyle McCoy go back to back the last 2 seasons, and getting his 3rd championship last season was kind of gut-wrenching with the way that Ken Campbell looked so dominant in the first 4 races of the season, then kind of dropping off at the middle and tail end. But here for season 5, things just seemed different, helping out that of Christopher Wade, pushing the 53 to the win to start the season off, and then kind of getting the same payback of finding himself in victory lane at Pocono and then at Texas, and just being so consistent with 9 top 5s, 11 top 10s. This 15 machine, when you looked at the category of drivers that were showing up, he was up there of one of the drivers to watch out for when we started the playoffs, and he's made it to the Final Four and proving why he's a Final Four contender.
Yeah, he really is. And I think, a big thing that's really people probably had, going against him is he started off each of these seasons we've seen the past few seasons so hot. He has just come out the gates and really been kind of the guy to beat for the first couple races. And, I think the thing that's got away from him is that at the end of the year, as slowly as the seasons went on, he hasn't been able to keep as much grasp on it. But this season, that's changed. He's really shown here and now in position to go here and win this championship. This would be such a great storyline for him, especially for someone who starts so hot and probably doesn't end the season the greatest, to, really get that monkey off his back and really finish this race in the right way.
And this playoffs has been so dramatic, watching the way that the first round happened. We started out with 12 drivers that made it into the playoffs. We saw, Cameron Sarton, also Kyle McCoy, and plenty of other drivers be bounced out in that first round. I mean, favorites that we thought coming into the season were going to be championship hopefuls bounced out, and it was Ken Campbell, Joshua Robinson, seeing the rookie class really shine going into that round of 8, and then just hitting his marks, finishing where he needed to finish, being around his teammates, got him to the Final Four, and seeing all the other Final Four contenders. I mean, Joshua Robinson, what a rookie season for himself. I would say it's between Joshua Robinson, Ross Tatum, Rookie of the Year contenders, for the both of them, had great shots for themselves, but they're going to need a yellow to come out because they are losing ground. The gap now over 4 seconds between first and second.
Yeah, it just continues and continues to grow there, and you got to commend Joshua Robinson, though, guys. I mean, starting 19th, he was in a 6-second deficit at one point all the way to our leader. I mean, that dude has really climbed his way to the best finish he possibly could have from that far back, especially with no yellows, nothing to really reset this race. He was in that deficit from the very, very beginning. So got to give him major credit and major kudos because, man, he has just went out there and really tried to, climb an uphill battle. And it's just, unfortunately, not looking like it's going to work out for him. And he's really going to need some help from Barney the Flagman here to get that yellow flag in use.
Gonna need it badly as we are coming to 4 to go for our leader of Ken Campbell. 4 real tough laps to go. I mean, Zach, for these drivers, they all know once you get to the white flag, the race is official, and then it's all about getting and crossing the line to the finish. But to the white flag is probably one of the most nerve-wracking couple of laps that you have to deal with.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth there, pretty much. It is so nerve-wracking. Literally, when you have a decent gap, on somebody, you would think you're pretty calm. You're just riding to the finish, trying to see that yellow flag, but you have all those things creeping in saying, oh man, there's going to be a yellow flag. You're waiting for somebody on your team to say, oh man, there's a guy spinning. There's something going on here. You're just, everything in your body is hoping that you can get to that white flag. That is the one thing in your mind. You're not even thinking about the checker flag. You're only thinking this white flag means this race is official. I just need to be clean for 2 miles at that point. So if I'm Ken Campbell, that is the only thing he's stressed out about is a yellow flag. There is nothing else in his mind, and he's just trying to get there to the end of this race to try to be crowned a champion.
3 laps to go as we are going into turn number 3. The teammates have been helping one another. Ken Campbell and as well as seen Ross Tatum helping out the 15 in the early goings of this race. The 53 is shown out here of late, but 2 more laps to go to crown a champion.
And Campbell here, the veteran, looking for that first championship. Only 4 miles now, less than that away from being able to get that crown and be able to really just finish this season off in style, man. And, this place here in Michigan, it seemed like a great racetrack for him. I really felt like coming in here tonight, he might be the favorite due to it being the Michigan International Speedway. And he has proven that to me here tonight as he goes into 3 and 4 for the penultimate time.
Out of turn number 4, the flag is out in the air. It is your freaky fast white flag for that of Ken Campbell. The 15 found his teammate. He was pushing the 53 at the start of the season to victory lane. Well, now his teammate on the back bumper trying to shove the 15 to his first championship for the Stars and Stripes Racing League.
And out of 2, here they come down the back straightaway for the final time here tonight. Ken Campbell can really take this last lap in and enjoy it as a champion because there's nobody close. It's 5 seconds back to his nearest competition.
It is Marks. It has been, counting tonight, 76 starts in this league. He has fought, clawed. He's seen championships fly on by, but tonight, crown the 15. He is the champion here at Michigan and for the Stars and Stripes Racing League. Move on over. Our 3rd champion of the league is now here.
What a great sight to see. Congrats to the 15 of Ken Campbell. He's deserved every bit of this win here tonight. Went aggressive with the strategy, got off of the strategy he was doing before, and really put the ball in the court of the other guys to go out there and hit their pit stops perfectly. And that's what came back to win this race. That last pit stop was the money stop for our champ.
We were questioning it when it first happened. Was it too soon? The undercut just seemed it was way too aggressive. But with everyone else's mistakes, the gaps just being too large, it worked out perfectly for the 15. And Zach, the way that this season started, seeing Ken Campbell pushing his teammate to win at Daytona, that was her respect. But to end the season off, having that same teammate that you shoved to get the win at the start of the season, giving you the bump at the end for a championship, that has got to be a cherished feeling for this 15 team.
Yeah, I tell you, your teammates are so valuable to you, and at the right time when you need them, they're there for you. And I tell you, man, that was the helping hand. It definitely helped them there, but at the same time, how big that gap was, it was going to be tough in an uphill battle all night for Robinson to come back from that. And as you see, there's the 15. He's going to park it here in the Gatorade victory lane.
He gets to park it there, and we're going to step aside. When we come back, it's the post-race show where we get to talk to our champion as well as get the thoughts from Joshua Robinson and our pole sitter of Dylan Grimm. We'll be back in just a few moments here for the Freaky Fast Broadcasting post-race show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let the fireworks shine as season 5 is done, and it's time for us to have our last interviews of the season. We got our top 3. We're going to start things off with the 23 machine at Dylan Grimm and get his thoughts on how tonight went down. Dylan, it's Sam and Zach of the booth. Congratulations on 3rd place and on getting the pole to start this race off. Man, how you feeling after this long, grueling 100 laps without a caution?
I'm feeling pretty good. I really didn't have a ton of expectations for this race. I believe with that 3rd place, I should win the non-playoff championship thing. So happy for that. I think that was my first pole of the season, so that was awesome to have. And I'll definitely take a 3rd place finish. Solid race.
Yeah, I tell you what, Dylan, it was interesting to watch all the strategies play out here tonight. Take us through that because it seemed like that came down to really separating up the field and really being the deciding factor.
Yeah, we were all talking about that. Me and my spotter were wondering if we should even take 2 because the left sides weren't wearing too bad. But uh, I was kind of thinking pitting early, like Ken did there on that last run, wouldn't work because I think Ross and Jason on the first pit stop pitted like 1 lap early before I or Ken did. And we passed him over the run, or we passed Jason on Ross, um, but yeah, congrats to Ken. It was right strategy. It was definitely a strategy-filled race. Um, but I think it worked out pretty well for me for what I did. So
I mean, Dylan, this has been a tough season. I know didn't want to finish where you wanted in the playoffs, of making the playoffs, but how can you take this season as a whole for yourself? And what are some of the highs that you are going to carry on in the next season?
yeah, I think just I've had a lot of strong runs here through these playoffs. Um, so it's definitely got me motivated for next season. The season I've had a lot of computer and internet issues that took me down some points in the regular season. So I'm really looking forward to next season and hopefully not having any issues so I can have a shot at the championship.
Well, Dylan, congratulations on 3rd place here this evening. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, I want to thank Nate and everyone who puts on this league. You guys in the broadcast booth, you guys do a great job every week. My teammates at Grim Roberts Racing, Jason Gratton, Zach Kreitz, Randy Cornwell. They've been great guys beside me. My spotter, my papa, and any other family watching another night.
Well, that is going to be the 23 machine at Dylan Grimm. Congratulations on 3rd place, and have a great off season before season 6 comes around.
Yeah, thank you guys. See you next season.
As we go from 3rd place, we head over to 2nd, where we've got the driver that fought and clawed his way up to that a 2nd, but was not enough. Joshua Robinson, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. Congratulations on 2nd, but I know that's not the position that you wanted. How are you feeling after tonight's performance of yourself?
Hey guys, how's it going? I'll take it. I had a very lackluster qualifying run and was pretty calm at the front of that and was like, man, am I even going to crack the top 10? And 2nd place is good.
Yeah, man, I tell you, that's what we talked about all night. You had to climb a giant hill to get where you did. Exactly what you said. I got to give you kudos for just getting back to 2nd, and where you got. So, first off, congrats on that, man, and an awesome season. But take us through the strategies because we seen them. They were all over the place, and a few guys definitely making mistakes on the last stops.
We definitely knew the tires would level out once you got, I don't know, I call it 20-ish laps on them. So if you wanted to make moves, you had to do it within the first 20 laps of your run. So if someone pitted early and you needed to make up time, then you wanted to run a couple laps more than they did, but it was a lot of guessing game. I know at the end, I was of the 4 chasers, I was the last one of us to pit, and I thought that was going to be golden, but man, did Ken nail that last pit stop.
Yeah, you really did. But Josh, I mean, this season has been incredible for us to watch up the booth for yourself. You came in most polls out of anyone. You really showed out on starting in the right position throughout this season. And as a rookie, how does it feel knowing that you made it to the final four and you were just so close from getting the championship?
It definitely made it a lot of fun with the points racing, and then our team too. Having they do some team points in this too, and our team did pretty well in that. So that also adds to the excitement of this. But it was, I hope that was pretty exciting at the end as we were all grouped together there in the top five.
Oh, it was a pleasure to cover and watch there, Josh. Congratulations again on second place. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Sure. Shout out to my teammates, Tom and Andrew. Definitely, outside of just bouncing ideas off of each other, just fun to be on the track with those guys at the same time. And then thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. I enjoy going back and watching these. Shout out to the League and Men's. This was a really fun season. And then shout out to, I think I got Paul, Tom, and Dwayne watching tonight.
That is going to be the 30 machine of Joshua Robinson. Congratulations on second place and good luck heading into the next season.
Thanks, guys.
As we go from second place, we head to victory lane for the driver that had to work all season long, made it to the final four, and now we can say the third different champion of the Stars and Stripes Racing League. It is now Ken Campbell in the 15. Ken, it's Sam and Zach of the booth. Congratulations on the win, and welcome to the championship books.
I appreciate it, boys. It's a fantastic feeling. A lot of hard work went into it, and it paid off, and that just it's an amazing feeling.
Well, Ken, I tell you, man, congrats first off, man. You really earned that one tonight. Take us through that strategy, man. You made the call there to come down earlier than anybody and stick to the four tires, man. Take us through it, because that ends up being really how you got yourself out front there.
Yeah. So first run, me and Ross were, stuck behind some other guys, and we knew we were faster, but we were being patient. And then we made our way out, and I was just fine to just ride behind him for a while and try to see if we could get a gap. And I think Dylan was right there with us, or it may have been Grattan. But anyway, so we had a nice little gap, and I tested there at the end, and I think I was a little bit faster than Ross, but I wasn't fast enough to actually pass him. And he kind of surprised me when he went down pit road. When he did, and I looked down, and I was like, oh, it's lap 33. Okay, he's splitting it. So I went a couple laps long just to kind of see what it would do. I knew I wasn't going to go the whole way, and I knew I was losing a little bit of time, but I figured if he came out, then I could come out behind him, the draft would catch up. So I stayed out a couple laps. Dylan went in, I think, a lap ahead of me. I came out right behind him, and so just tried to push him. And then we were getting back to it, so got all the way back to Ross. Was faster again. I was trying to make him overdrive, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna need that track position. And so I knew he would probably pit at 66, and then I was like, well, he may go a lap early at 65, and so I really wanted that track position with that. So I pushed as hard as I could, came in at 63, and was just wanting to hold on at that point. I wanted the track position, because if there's a caution, then I'm going to control the race and everything like that. And I knew I would be on older tires and they would be coming. And I was like, I'll have draft from somebody. And then I come out and I'm all by my lonesome on the track. And I was like, this is not good. And so I saw them all back there, just kind of laps ticking down. And so was the gap. And then I look in my rearview mirror and I see a Super 5.3, and he's just shoving me to the wind. So big shout out to Wade for helping with that.
I mean, again, it just seems like it's been the teamwork between yourself and Wade that helped you get your first wins in this series last season, and then helping Wade at the start of this season. How much does it feel, 4 seasons that you've ran in this series, and it was the 4th one that you got the championship, and you had your teammate right behind you crossing the line?
Oh, it was 100% a team win on that. And it has been all year. Some teammates are the teammates where it's like, hey, I'm not going to wreck you, but I'm not going to tell you anything, or I'm not going to help you out. And Wade is not that way at all. He'll tell you everything he knows. He will put himself at a disadvantage to help you. And I mean, you really couldn't ask for anything better than that. So it really is a team win.
Well, Ken, congratulations again. You are now the champion, and now the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
First and foremost, as always, thanks to my wife and kids for supporting me in everything that I do, sim racing included. Logan, Jet, and Easton are fantastic little fireballs, always keep me on my toes. And every time I come in and I don't win, Jet's like, well, what happened? So I've got to go over it with an 8-year-old. So that I didn't want to do that tonight. So it worked out. My mom and sister, Christy, they always watch the races, support me. My nephew Lawson, my buddy James, and everybody else out there that watches. We really appreciate it. And no matter who you're pulling for, we appreciate all the views. Everybody at Storm Motorsports, especially Wade, pushed me there. Ross, congrats on making the Final Four for him. He got a top 5 tonight, but looked like that was last in the playoffs. But I mean, he had it really. It just came down to a pit strat thing. And Marty, who couldn't be here tonight, league sponsors, Sharp Apparel, ButtKicker, and Raise Energy. We couldn't have the payouts and everything and motivate the drivers the way that we do without them. Sharp Apparel and Max Ward for the race. BG Construction for the team sponsor, Under Armour and Netflix. Will Bustler for making the paint, making me look good on track. If you want to look as good as I do, hit him up. Everybody in the league, it's a super fun league and super competitive, and that's hard to come by. And last but not least, you guys up in the booth.
Well, thank you, Ken. I know everyone that you just shouted out are thankful as well. Congratulations on the win, and congratulations on the walk-off championship here for Season 5. It is Ken Campbell in the 15. Congratulations, and enjoy this championship for yourself.
Appreciate it, boys.
As we go from victory lane talking to our champion, we head to look at the unofficial results. But Zach, what a night. Green all the way through.
Yeah, man. They don't surprise us again. I tell you, these guys are so good at doing the clean and green races. But in those stages, you got to kind of expect it here, Stars and Stripes. And man, Ken Campbell took the most advantage of that there with that championship and that race win.
And Campbell in the 15 wins the championship, gets the victory. Coming up second, that of Joshua Robinson. I mean, you heard it in his voice. He was just happy that he found himself in the top 10, and he comes away second. Just that, although a little bit under five and a half seconds off of that lead position. And he was our biggest mover of the day, up 17 spots. Third going to be that of Dylan Grimm. Fourth going to be that of Jason Gratton, as well as Ross Tatum, the final two of our final four that raced here this evening for a championship, fourth and fifth for both of themselves. Thomas Ogle going to come away with 6th, with Trey Jackson 7th. 8th goes to Kyle Bowling. Scott Rickard, our season 2 champ, going to come away with 9th, with Cameron Sargent finishing out the top 10. What a season we've had. As we look at the rest of the field and where they ran, Zaga, certainly some drivers not happy with where they finished, but certainly the championship 4 finishing up front exactly where they belong.
Yeah, it never surprises me, man, because it just shows you the preparation that it takes to get to the first off, get to that Final Four, and then the preparation of that upcoming week to this race. And I'm sure all these guys prepped very, very well coming in tonight, knowing every scenario and every possible opportunity they could have. So, man, you just got to give credit to them because, Robinson, first off, 19th a second. That is just a climb that you normally don't see at tracks like this. Ken Campbell, the amazing gutsy call to make that pit strategy. And then you got to feel a little bit gutted even for Ross Tatum and Jason Gratton, who've had good runs all night long. They end up about 7 seconds back off the lead. And really for Tatum, sliding through his box, taking the 2-tire call there, it really put him in a tough box where he really had to go out there and push super hard. And just the tires seemed to fall away. But just another great season here at Stars and Stripes, and another great champion also to add to the books.
Well, this season has come to a close, but for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, the rest of the series that we get to cover are still in playoff full swing. And the next one on our calendar going to be the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series as they head to their cutoff race to see who's racing for the championship at Dover on that Saturday night. Then on Monday night, it's the ISRC Truck Series as they're going to be going road course racing to start up their new round of the playoffs. Then also on Tuesday, it's the Full Send Racing Series as they just finished up their regular season. It's time to see who's charging for the championship on their side. And then on that of Wednesday night, the Wicked Racing League, they head to short track racing at Bristol for their cutoff race to see who will race for the Final Four. And it's crazy to think, Zach, we're done on Thursdays for the rest of the year.
It is, man. It is crazy to say that. It has been a whirlwind because, I look back and I feel like we're just at the start of the season almost. It feels like, last week was the start. And it just shows you when you have good racing, when you have a good group of guys like they have here at Stars and Stripes, great admins that put on great, opportunities for these drivers to go out here and race. It really makes it where it's a fun place to be here. And, you don't really notice the time. It's kind of a place to get away for guys. And that's what iRacing and league racing can be for people, kind of that couple hours where you can get away from your daily life, go here and really have a good time enjoying it with a hobby like this of racing, man. And I tell you what, it's always super fun to see someone get crowned a champion, and I can't wait for that next season because I tell you what, these guys always put on such a great show.
Well, this season, we saw the competition grow even closer. The wins disperse a lot more throughout the field, which makes me more excited. What will Season 6 bring for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series? Well, we'll see if it is going to be the Cup Series anymore, as every season it's changed on what car it was. Season 1, Kyle McCoy won the championship in the ARCA car. Season 2, in the trucks, it was Scott Rickard who won the championship. Then Season 3, Kyle McCoy goes for his second championship in the Xfinity car. The Gen 6 Cup car was in Season 4 where Kyle McCoy got his third championship. And then for Season 5, you just saw it here tonight. It was the 15. Ken Campbell in the Gen 7 Cup machine is now your newest champion of the Stars and Stripes Racing League. Congratulations to the 15. Congratulations to all the drivers for finishing out this season. But for us here tonight, thank you for watching. My name is Sam Dyer. I had Zach Hall with me, Robert Moyer running productions, and everyone else that helps out at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Thank you for watching tonight's championship race. Well, we'll see you Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. More playoff action for the rest of the month.